Hey everyone, this is Yanti with Urban Survival. We got some good information for you today. We're going to be talking about if you had 3 firearms that you can choose, only 3, and I don't care if it's for survival, personal defense, whatever the case may be, but you only get 3. Which 3 firearms would you select? So I got my boy Andy with me today. He goes way back. We got lots of history together. Guy knows his junk. But I do want to hear your personal opinion about what your selection of 3 firearms would be.
Because it will be different than yours.
What he meant to say that mine would be better than his, but that's okay. His slurs got all mixed up. So, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I'll start.
Okay, all right. Let's hear your first firearm. What would you choose for any situation in life?
The holy hand grenade.
You're not right. Let's try something else. Something more realistic, of course.
12 gauge shotgun.
12 gauge.
12 gauge shotgun. I know I said 20 earlier. I got my math mixed up. 12 gauge shotgun. Doesn't matter really if it is pump action, fully automatic, or brake action, side by side, under, over. Doesn't matter if it's pistol grip. Doesn't matter if it's extending stock. I just want something that is going to be able to throw pellets or slugs downrange for home protection, self protection, and if we're in a survival situation,
shit hits the fan.
I can shoot fowl. Not foul language, birds from the sky, you know.
Yeah. For those of us who don't know what fowl is, but yes, thanks for that clarification.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of duck hunting, but if I needed to feed myself and my family, I would shoot every bird in the sky, and perfect for it. Might be picking some BBs out later, but
it's whatever works.
And relatively cheap and easy to come by ammunition. That's another thing. So.
Good point. Yeah, good point.
Okay.
That's it?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. So I have to admit, I have to kind of agree with him that I think a 12 or a shotgun would be a good choice. However, I think if I had to go with one, I would go with a 20 gauge. Now, hear me out. Again, I think a shotgun is very conducive for kind of a variety of different things, but I want to consider both. If I was out in the woods for survival means, yes, a 12 gauge would be a good option. But when it comes to home defense, I would want something that is more user-friendly inside of my home or inside of closed quarters. And I think a 20 gauge would have less recoil, depending on those of us that don't have a lot of upper body strength. So a 20 gauge is going to have less recoil. And I like something shorter. Now, this is not considered a short barrel shotgun. This is still considered legal because of the stock that's on it. It's not something that you can mount on your shoulder, but it's just more user-friendly, I think, for both indoors and outdoors. And so I would choose a shotgun, but mine would be in 20 gauge, something that a little bit more user-friendly. Now, try to top that.
On that, I see your point. I just wanted to say I see your point in the 20 gauge. You might have a loved one on the other side of a wall, and you don't want to put your 12 gauge or your slug round through the wall and possibly harm somebody else. So your drywall is going to get a lot of little BBs in it.
Yeah.
I agree on that. Okay.
And also the part two that what Andy was saying earlier is you can go from birdshot, buckshot, or even use a slug. So it's pretty much the same concept, just a little bit lower power and I think more user-friendly. So, all right.
Fair thought.
What's your next one?
All right. Handgun. Now, this isn't the gun specifically, but it is the same caliber. It is a .357 revolver. The reason I picked a .357 revolver specifically is I'm thinking of one that I happen to have at my house that is stainless steel. That's important to me. I might get it wet. It has a replaceable grip on it that is nice, fits my palm nicely. I have fast loaders for it, so a little stack of 6, so I can drop another 6 in there quickly. So of course, I'm sure people in the comments are going to argue that a magazine-fed semi-automatic is superior to this, and
Yeah.
that there are a lot of good points in that. But with the speed loaders, that does kind of doesn't even the playing field, but it makes it a little bit easier to reload this thing, so you don't have just 6 shots and that's it. It's heavy as a brick, so I can throw it at you if it's empty. Mine is like a hand cannon. Let me tell you, if we're fishing up in Alaska and a grizzly bear decided to mess with us, game on. And for this is the kicker for me, is 357. I can also shoot 38 rounds through my 357. So if we're in a scrounging situation and I am looking for ammunition, I've got 2 ammunitions that I can put through that gun. And that right there was the kicker. I was trying to decide which way to go between the semi-auto or the revolver, and I had to pick the revolver for that reason specifically.
Okay. Actually, that's a pretty good point. And that's kind of the purpose of the video, is I think everybody has their own opinion about what they would choose. But remember, you only have 3. And amongst those 3, it may not meet all the criteria that you would want in either survival means or in personal defense. So you got to narrow it down. What's going to get you on that even plane that you're just kind of covered generally with everything you have for whatever those needs are. So if I had to choose, I would choose the infamous 9mm. Okay. Now, why would I choose 9mm? Because I think across the board, 9mm is the most universal. I can use it for survival means, and I can use it for personal defense. We're not talking about any particular brand or even models. We're just talking about what's user-friendly in different types of firearms. So again, I don't want you guys to think that this is an ad for, we're talking about different types of gun, things like that, as far as brands and models. We're just talking about specifically universal use. So 9mm. The ammo is plentiful and it's reasonably priced. You can always find it, whether you go with a revolver or semi-automatic, that's going to be your personal preference. We are going to do a video on the pros and cons to revolvers and semi-automatics, but just look forward for that next video on that. We won't cover that in this particular video. Now, even though I am partial to SIGs, but there's just so many different 9mm calibers out there, and you don't even necessarily have to go with 9mm, but I like it because it's that happy medium. It's not overrated and it's not underrated. So now you got subcompacts. This is kind of considered a full size. I like it just because it fits my hand well. So ready to go with the subcompact or full size or medium size, that's totally up to you. But my caliber would be 9mm. We're not going to talk about gun lights or optics. Again, we'll cover that in another video. But yeah, my choice would be 9mm.
Sound choice, and obviously I like that 9mm as well.
There you go. All right, one more. What else would you choose if you had to choose something in your arsenal? Let's see what he brings out next.
The holy hand grenade? Okay.
We have to go to something else, man. I don't know why he's
On the count of 3,
so stuck on
3
blowing
being the
things
count.
up. Yeah. Oh.
All right.
Oh.
This will also cause some conversation. So of choice of long rifles, I decided to go with a hunting rifle. This happens to be a 270 Remington, model 700. I have a Remington 7mm model 700 and a 300 Winchester mag, all pretty much set up the same, high power scope, sling. I think that this weapon, this firearm, does very well for personal defense and for reaching out and touching someone or animals. And my primary thought is feeding myself and my family in a shit hits the fan situation. So I want to be able to hunt. I want a versatile rifle that I can bring down a deer, an elk, a moose. It is low capacity, but I can carry extra ammo on me. And after making shots, I pick up the brass and I reload. Therefore, I can make custom rounds. I can make a hotter round that's going to be able to knock down a moose, or a lighter round that's going to be able to take down a deer and not do too much damage to the meat. And it's more cost effective. It's time consuming, but it's cost effective. Of course, people are going to ask, why would you go with this over something that's magazine fed? I think that the ability to, with the high power scope, the ability to make long range shots or closer range shots, and it's composite, it's lightweight, I can lug it around. And if I needed to protect myself with it, it will do a darn good job at that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think almost any gun you can use for personal defense, but
sure.
yeah, you can go with a bolt action, lever action, semi-automatic. So,
And
yeah.
mine has another feature. When you're squatting in the woods, it'll do this for you. You have a place to keep your toilet paper roll.
You see what I got to deal with?
Can yours do that?
This is, well, maybe so. Now, yours might be able to help in those circumstances where you need toilet paper, but mine will help on the circumstances that you don't have to use toilet paper. So it all depends on how you look at
The
it.
other person's going to need toilet paper.
That's true. That's true. All right. So my choice, yes, I'm a big fan of the AR-15 or the AR-15 platform. Now, I get it. When you talk about, going out, reaching long range, things like that, something that's out 300-400 range, yeah, bolt action, something designed more for heavy game would be ideal. I'm looking at it for more of a practical standpoint, and hear me out. And the reason why I say that is because let's talk about survival means. If I'm out in the woods and I need food. If I shoot something that has a higher caliber, such as a rabbit or something like that, I'm going to blow it to smithereens with shooting something that's a little bit more high caliber. And remember, you're in survival mode. So most likely it's going to be smaller game is what I'm looking for. Something I can easily clean and that sort of thing. I don't have to drag in the woods. I don't need 3 people to help me quarter out, things like that.
Don't pass up a squirrel looking for a deer.
That's true. That's true. So that's kind of my view. Now, so some type of an AR-15 type platform, and I choose the 300 Blackout. Now, I like the 300 Blackout in the aspect of, can I use that round for hunting? Yes. Can I also use it for personal defense, especially indoors? Yes. The 300 Blackout is going to be a little easier on your ears if you're shooting indoors versus, a 5.56 or 2.23. And so having something a little bit more smaller, kind of more compact, it's much lighter weight, just like probably going with a composite stock. I can put all the stuff that I need for, again, outdoors and indoors. I got, my laser on here if I need it for personal defense. I got a gun light on here. I have my optic on here. And yes, I have my 30 round magazine capacities. It's just more conducive for both indoors and outdoors. So that's why I would go with the carbine versus something that's just a little bit more long range, probably catered more towards outdoors. But I think more practically than he does. He's just, he's a dude, and that's just kind of how dudes think. But that's okay. I'm going to work with him on that. And the aspect of, 300 Blackout is still a good round. Are they as plentiful as the 5.56 and 2.23? No. But if you can find them, hold on to them. And I just think it's kind of a good choice in that aspect. So,
What would you say it cost? For instance, 5.56 versus 300 Blackout.
300 Blackout?
How much of a savings really? I mean, how much more expensive is the 300 Blackout really?
Not really that much. Actually, I was kind of surprised that the ammo is not that. The only thing that's different with the 300 Blackout versus 2.23 and 5.56 is both those rounds have been around for a long time. 300 Blackout has only been in existence for the last 5 to 10 years, and they didn't have the same ballistic value as the 2.23 and the 5.56 when they came out. The 2.23 is in between the 2.23. I'm sorry, the 300 Blackout is in between the 2.23 and the 5.56 round. So it's almost like they had a baby and came out with the 300 Blackout. That's kind of my good analogy. So it has the best of both worlds. So that's why I choose it, just because of its versatility. So do your research. Find out what caliber you think out there would work for you if you decide to go with the rifle. And remember, these are just our views, and this is our opinions. And we all have our own values, views, and opinions, and what our needs are. We both are thinking, what's practical, but what's practical for Andy may be totally different for me. Even though, like I said, my values are better than his, and that's okay. He just has to learn to accept that. So whatever you choose, I would like to hear about it. So please take an opportunity to, first of all, like and subscribe. If you want to hear more content like this, we'd love to share it with you. But we also like to hear from you. Send us what would be your 3 firearms that you would use for whatever means that you have, and we will definitely respond.
And maybe you'll
So-
change my mind.
Yeah, that's it. It's hard to do, but it's possible. Trust me, I've worked with him for a while. So, in fact, I would like to do that. If anybody can send any info on what we can do to change his mind about what firearms we choose, I would really love to hear that. So, reach out to us. Let us know what you think. Yep. But we want to hear what you would choose. And thank you for taking this time. And please check out our other videos where we talk about calibers for both survival means and personal defense. And we'll continue doing this as long as you want to hear it. So we'll hopefully reach out to you then.